Hello, good evening friends. This is Somnath Chattopadhyaya from Department of Mechanical Engineering, and I am going to talk about the indexes and very specifically G indexes. People are knowing what is H index or Hirsch index. So that is a very good measure. With one numericals, one can understand what is the research potential of the researcher or the candidate. So that's a very good measure, because with that one can know how many papers he is having with certain level of index. Like say 10 H index means 10 papers, and each and every paper will be having at least 10 index. This is a good measure, and many of the cases it is discussed in many of the assessment and other kind of analysis. But the problem with these kind of Hirsch index is that if a person is having some kind of papers which are really very highly cited, so that is not reflected. Suppose a researcher having 10 papers and H index is 10, but one paper is having terrific citation like 1000, but there is no reflection of his terrific citation of 1000 of a paper in his H index. So problem is, a person who is having only 10 papers and each and every paper is having only 10 or 11 citations, so he will also having an H index 10, and the person who is having say 10 papers, which are 9 papers are having H index 10, but one paper is having H index of a fabulous value, that is 1000, that is not reflected. So two, as per Hirsch index or H index is concerned, they will be put together in the same place. So in order to differentiate them, H index has no such kind of capability to do that. So people are thinking of some development so that these kind of highly cited papers have some kind of reflection. So people are thinking, and on the basis of that, people have come out with G index. That is very new, and not many people are very aware of how it is to be calculated. And problem is that the conventional indexes like say Web of Science, like Scopus, like Google Scholar, they also have not adopted these kind of practices. Maybe soon they will be adopted, and on the basis of that the G index will be calculated. The beauty of the G index is that even very good cited papers, and that kind of reflection will be there in the numerics itself. Like say IIT Roper. IIT Roper has some very good faculties, and there are some 5 papers which are having citations more than 2000. That's a very important and rare things in many of the leading institutions in India, where some papers having more than 2000, and that is also quite good number. So if you calculate the H index of an institutions like IIT Roper, so that thing, these kind of highly cited papers are there, published by their faculty with the IIT Roper affiliation, and that will not be reflected. So this is not a good measure. So good measure is a measure which will reflect all the data. That is why in measures of dispersion, range is the worst, because it is only dependent on 2 data. So good citation index will also have some kind of reflection in terms of those kind of papers which are having a very high citation index. So on the basis of thought process, people have come out with G index. So what is the idea about the G index is that, suppose a person is having G index 10. That means his highly cited papers, top 10 papers, will be the summation of 100, 10 into 10, 10 square, 100 citations will be there. So if a person is having one paper with say 900 citations, 900 means 30 into 30, so 30 square is 900, and then he has other 29 papers we have no citation at all, or maybe 1 or 2 citations, but his H index will be 30, because summation of his first 30 papers citation is 900, so his G index will be 30, because 30 square, so 900 or plus. So but only problem is that even top cited papers and other things, all those things will be reflected if the researchers have enough number of papers, and mostly he has. So a top cited paper with 900 and other papers very little citation, still he gets the mileage of 30, meaning that he has at least one top cited papers, or the summation of these first 30 papers is more than 30 square, that is 900, and that is reflected for the good researchers and other things. H index cannot reflect all those top cited papers, but if he has enough number of papers, then top cited papers will be reflected in terms of G index. So G index is a much better measure to tell about the citation stories. And even if one persons are having very good citations of all those things, that will be reflected in terms of G index. So I just give you once a case study of my case. So my H index in terms of Google Scholar is 21. That means I have 21 papers which are having citation index at least 21. But my G index is 31. The reason is that I have some papers which are much above than the citations of 21. In case of Hirsch index, so that my good cited papers are not reflected. If it is more than 21, so there is no reflection. But in case of G index, it is a reflection. So from the scale itself, I can show that. So I have these papers. My first paper is cited 181 times. So here is a cumulative sum. Then the next paper is 93. So it is a cumulative sum. And according to that, I am going for the summation of the cumulative sum. 181, then next 93. So it will be cumulative sum will be 181 plus 274, then 50, then 274 plus 50. That will be 324. And that way it will progress. It will progress further, and I will find it out what I have to find it out. And here this is the square. Square of 1 is 1, square of 2 is 4, square of 3 is 9, square of 4 is 16. So in one column the squares and one column the cumulative sum, and I have to calculate where my sums and all those things are less than that. So beyond that till high, so that will be my citation index. Here you will find it out in case of up to 27 papers, and the square of these 27 is 729. So this is more. So this is more than next, and here it comes that the citation of my 31 papers is 1002 and 31 square is 961. So it is more. So it will be my G index. And next one I will find it out. My citation is 1019, but 32 square is 1024. So 5 short. So the previous one, my citation index is 31. So in order to go for the next citation index, I will arrive if around these 32 papers I got 5 citations more, then I will be here itself and my citation index will be 31. So what can easily find it out that my citation index in terms of Google Scholar is 21, but in case of G index of that Google Scholar database, another part of it, I have to calculate it with some kind of calculations. My citation index is 31. So that means citation 31 is telling that, okay, I have some good papers and better cited papers which cannot be reflected in 21. So I have calculated all those things in case of my Web of Science citations, also core collections. So here you will find it out. My citation index will be 20, G index will be 23, while my H index is 15. So that enhancement, because of I have some papers which are very good cited in terms of Web of Index is 126. So that is a reflection, and that also can be similarly calculated in case of Scopus. I have citation index of Scopus. H index is only 17, but while calculating this similar fashion, if I calculate all those things in Scopus database G index, it will come out to be an enhancement 27. The reason is that I have some papers which are very good cited in terms of my H index value. So G index will tell lot better stories if a researcher are having better citation and other part of it. If it is skewed in terms of citation for one few papers, then and there also it will be reflected and appropriate weightage will be there. So G index is a better measure provided the research scholars have ample number of papers so that it can be reflected on the basis of that, and that way G index is mostly better than the H index. What extent it will be better? The number of citations of very good papers, top cited, if it is there, then H index will be G index will be much higher than that of H index, and that will be a very important thing. And on the basis of that, one more quotient I will discuss in a separate video, that is called M quotient. M quotient means that when the first paper is published and whatever the H index is there at today, like say my first paper in Web of Science is published, core collection SCI is in 2011 and today is 2021. So 10 years and my H index is 15. So my M quotient is 15 by 10, 1.5. So beyond 1.5, keeping that for extended period of time, it is definitely a challenging option. As it is 10 years, it is easy for me, but if it is going for years together, I have to get my enhance, and that is depending on M quotient. So these kind of quotients and this kind of index and very specific emphasis on the G index is the key thing to understand the research potential of H. Much better representation in terms of H index, but unfortunately Google Scholar, the Web of Science and the Scopus and other things unable, not yet modified their calculation procedure in order to represent that G index. When they will be there, then it will automatically come. If it does not come, till then we have to calculate our own and put it in some kind of assessment so that it will reflect the research potentials. So everybody has to calculate on that to find it out his own G index, and it will be a better reflection of the highly cited papers in one career. Thank you.